Okay, in the last video we have created a virtual network, and this virtual network got an address space. We have discussed what does it mean an address space, and then we have created a subnet. Right now we have two subnets. We have the default subnets and we have a web server subnets. In today's video, we are going to create multiple virtual machines in two different subnets to show you that they can communicate just fine. And then we're going to create another virtual network. And then we try to connect from that virtual network to the other one. And you will see that by default, connectivity between virtual networks are not allowed. Okay? So now let's do that using GitHub Copilot, because we have seen how would you create that virtual machine or a virtual machine using the Azure portal. So let's do that via GitHub Copilot. Okay, what I've done is you either type the command easy login, like, how can I connect to Azure using CLI or PowerShell. Okay, so right now Copilot is analyzing my my question, and then it's telling me, hey, you can do that through the easy login. So now what I'm going to do is I am setting my Copilot in the agent mode, which means is that I will let Copilot create resources, but first let's plan. So I will tell Copilot I have a virtual network on Azure named, let me just copy this. Okay, named vnet-prod-spoke. Also, I have two subnets, one default and the other is web server subnet. So let me just copy that name. I want you to look at the location of the virtual network, this virtual network. Then create a VM, create a Windows Server 2025 VM on each subnet to test connectivity. Okay, and assign public IP on each VM. So this is what I'm doing on the planning phase. So let's take a look here. So he's asking me, are you already authenticated with Azure? Yes. I can just do yes with PowerShell because I've done that. I don't want to show my my authentication, but just very simple custom. Yeah. Let me just. So what kind of VM? So that's good because I didn't say that. And then it's clever enough to to pick up the choice and then even proactive. What kind of virtual machine size do you want to use? So I'm just trying to find here if I can zoom in this one. So let me just try that. Yeah, Control plus. So here it's telling me that I am going to, so look at this, he's checked, if I do this, he's checked that if I'm already authenticated or not. It created a plan, and then here is it's asking me to, check the documentation as well. And then it's asking me just to allow the agent to be able to create or to use the CLI here. Okay, so let's see what's gonna happen now. So this is my first time, like, using this feature, but I will just say, start the implementation. So now it's switched to the agent mode, and then now I will say create the requested VMs in the VNet that we planned. And create multiple resource groups. Now it's done the research and everything looks good. It says here, I'm gonna deploy this with multiple network interface and so on. So this looks good to me. So I'll just go ahead and proceed. So it will just do AZ account show, which basically it will look at this. So it's verified that I'm authenticated. Now it will query the virtual network, like vnet-prod-spoke, and then it found the virtual network, found your VNet, and then it found the 2 subnets that I have requested. Now I will say, okay, use existing resource groups, keeps VMs in existing resource groups, or create separate RGs. Use existing resource groups. That's fine. What prefix for VM's name? So how do you want to name it? Like maybe VM1 and VM2. Next, I'm gonna type my password. As you can see, it created successfully virtual machines Windows Server 2025. I've created 2 VMs. I have assigned these subnets to, I've created these VMs in that subnet. These are the private IP address, and then the status is running and assign public IPs. Why did I do that? Why did I assign a public IP? Because I want to be able to connect to these virtual machines, and I'm not in the same network. I don't have a VPN yet. I don't have any point-to-site VPN or site-to-site VPN or express route. There are ways to connect to that VM. This is the unsecured way what I'm doing, but again, we are test, so we can connect to that virtual machine using the public IP address. So now let's review the Azure portal and see what's happening over there. If I refresh here, so I should be able to see VM1 and VM2. Okay, and then let me just go to the virtual networks. Let's validate what GitHub Copilot said. So connected devices, then I can see NIC1-VM, and then this is the the IP address, and then this is the the second VM, and then it assigned or they are in the different subnets. Okay. So totally now they're having even different IP address. You can see it here, and then I have these 2 subnets 10.0.0.0/24 and 10.0.2/23. So which is perfect. Okay. If I go back to my virtual machine blade, so I should be able to see these 2 virtual machines. So can I connect? Can I ping the other machine and connect to the other machine? Let's now test. So I have a primary network interface here and got a public IP. In the last episode, I didn't assign a public IP, and we will see about this. But again, I'm not targeting now the VM or the public IPs. I'm just targeting the Azure Virtual Network. If I take a look at the networking settings here, we will see that GitHub Copilot allowed any-to-any to 3389, and then allowed ICMP for ping as well. So now let's try to connect. So I will just copy the public IP address here and then go to MSTSC or remote desktop. You right-click run or start run and then open MSTSC. So this is the computer IP address or the public IP address that we're gonna be connecting from. Let me just do that to do like a full screen, and let's try to connect. User that GitHub Copilot, I didn't tell GitHub Copilot to create which user, so I'm just gonna use that, and then I will connect to my virtual machine. As you can see, it's successfully connected. I've installed a telnet client just to be able to be able to telnet. So the way you do it is to go from the server manager in Windows, and then you can add the Windows feature. So if I go to next, so I'm choosing the same server, and then I think I wouldn't be able to do it now because it's still installing. So let me just cancel, but let's wait till it finish. So here I'll just do a simple ping command. So let's just run PowerShell here. So this is Windows PowerShell, and then I am pinging from 10.0.0.4. So I want to ping to 2.4. So ping the other virtual machine. .0.0.2.4. Let me just take a look here. I think maybe it says timeout here. Let me just take a look. Although ICMP is allowed. Okay, but if I try to remote desktop, let me just try this. Should be able to connect. Yeah, it's working fine, but seems that the ICMP is terminated, so I have to investigate why this is actually happening. Okay, there are two firewalls that you need to know. That there is one firewall outside from Azure, which is the network security group. Okay, but also we need to allow ping from from the firewall as well within the virtual machine. So now I have allowed this one. I think also the destination must be allowed 10.0 0.2.4. Yeah, I have to allow the other virtual machine, so let me try that. Azure user. So as you can see, I'm able to connect. This is just showing here that it's just the the firewall is not allowing this, so I will just allow the firewall from here as well. So let me just do on the destination VM, which is 10.0.2.4. But if we are able to connect via remote desktop, that's mean I'm able to reach to that computer over the private network, which means that's all good. Okay, I'm connected to that VM too. So let's also paste the command here. And then if I try to ping the other VM 10.0.0.0.4, then boom, I'm able to do that. If I go from the other virtual machine 10, try to ping again, so it's allowed. So that was a Windows firewall issue. Again, I wanted to telnet, but there is no need, because again, since we are able to connect to the the actual virtual machine, that's mean the remote desktop or the 3389 port is allowed and all working just fine. But as you can see, the whole purpose of this example is to show you that communication is allowed by default between the Azure subnets within the same virtual network. So right now we are in West Europe, and this is the virtual network. They both exist on, if I go to VM1, they exist on virtual network / default subnet. So this is the virtual network production spoke. And then if I go back to the VM2, It's also vnet-prod-spoke, but on web server subnets, not on the default. So they are on two different subnets, but the route are configured all good. So if you allow the network security group here, they will be able to, like, to communicate with each other. You can also update their DNS, but updating the DNS here is different. So let's say if you want to update the DNS, usually in the on-premises world, you will go from here and then open the network settings, or maybe just click on the local server here. That's going to be faster. So click on the local server from here. Just click here, Ethernet. If I take a look here, usually I have to like if I want to assign an IP address or a static IP address, I have to go from here. That's the on-premises world, okay, and then switch this from Apipa to, like, use the following IP address, and then start to assign my static IP address from network, and then add my domain controller's DNS. But in this case, if you do this, the virtual machine is going to be gone. It will disconnect. You cannot do that. So although it's showing that it's getting automatic IP address, however, it's inheriting that settings from the network interface. So you don't need to do anything. So what you can do, so let's say here, if I do ipconfig/all, I will be able to see that the virtual machine is automatically getting the 10.0.0.4, and it will not change because now it's getting from the virtual network, and the DHCP is Azure. So don't worry, don't change anything. It's always going to be static. But as you can see, the default here, the DNS server is getting the Azure DNS, which is 168.63.129.16. So if I want to change the DNS settings here, I don't do it from here. Okay, so I have to go back from the Azure portal. Let's just test with one version. Let's say VM1 is going to be the domain controller. So this is going to be the DNS. Let's say this is going to be my private Active Directory domain service, which hold the DNS role as well. So I want to change the DNS from the Azure DNS to the 10.0.0.4. So what I will do here is I have to go to VM2, which is having 10.0.2, not .0, okay, .4. And then I have to change the network DNS settings from here, or even I can do it from the virtual network level. If I change it individually from here, that means I'm not affecting every VM that's going to be created in the future, because some customers might have different use cases. They don't want all the machines to join the domain or to have that private IP address of that Active Directory. So in that case, you have to go by the network interface itself. And then under the network interface, you will see something called DNS server here. Okay, so this is the DNS server that we are looking to modify. If I click here, you can see the settings. There are two different modes. It's either inherit from the virtual network or custom. Okay, so if I click on custom here, I can just add the that DNS server 10.0.0.4, and then I click save. So once I do that, it will automatically assign that DNS server to that virtual machine. Okay, and it's telling you here, updating the DNS server for this network interface may restart the virtual machine, which is attached to it. So it might restart the virtual machine. So notice that it might restart your virtual machine to be able to get that update. So if I go back here again, and then do clear, and then I do ipconfig/all. Okay, so DNS servers still getting what the old DNS. So what I need to do is to restart that virtual machine. So I will restart that virtual machine and click continue. Then once it's restarted, it will get the new DNS server. So let's wait till it restarts, and then I will come back again. Okay, so now I am logging to that VM again. I click yes, and let's try to run ipconfig/all again and see what's gonna happen. Okay, I'm opening PowerShell. So as you can see, I am in 10.0.2.4. So if I do ipconfig /all again, I should be able to see the new DNS update 10.0.0.4. Okay, so now this guy, this guy is the Active Directory. So this one is the client of that Active Directory. So I can actually install the Active Directory role here and then start to to join this machine to the domain, which we will see as well in the future videos. But I don't want to make it longer than this. As you can see, because I'm in a different network, I'm connecting to this virtual machine through the public IP. But because I'm in the same network, I mean, of course, it's different subnets. So I'm just using the private IP address. There are routes, and then I can reach to that, to that virtual machine. Then I can connect through the private IP address. But as I mentioned, if you have a point-to-site VPN, which is connecting single computer to, to the Azure Virtual Network, or site-to-site VPN or express route, then you can actually connect through the private IP address. Again, we will talk about the connectivity types, how many ways that you can connect to your resources, but I just wanted to show you this here. The other thing is, I just want to let you know that, again, I'm not going to create the third VM now and the third virtual network because the video is going to take longer. Okay, so what I've done now is that I told GitHub Copilot to delete the virtual machine that that's created. So now it's doing this. Life is very easy, right? So I don't need to go to the Azure portal and they'll delete everything. So as you can see now, GitHub Copilot started to delete everything. So it's now deleting everything here. As you can see, it deleted the virtual machines, and then it says like, hey, Copilot, just there is an error with Copilot, and then I just say, can you try again? Then this time it's successful. And then there is a nice feature. So either you're gonna leave Copilot to to run in a hidden mode, or you can actually show up here in the terminal. So you can just click here, focus terminal, and also you can say, hey, continue in the background, whatever. I just can let it keep working. So I'm just saying here, it's gonna continue in the background, and maybe I want to do something else. Okay, so now as you can see, it's actually successfully deleted everything. So now, which means that if I go back here and then refresh my resource group, I should be able to see only the virtual network and the prod. This is actually my previous VM01NSG. So I just can delete this manually from here. But as you can see, it was very quick for me to, it saves a lot of effort, to just say, hey, delete everything that you have created. Let me know what you think. So I'm gonna stop from here. But in the next video, we will create another virtual network with another virtual machine. And then let's try to ping this virtual machine. And let's also see how can we fix, or how can we enable connectivity between two different virtual network, whether they are on on the same location or the same region, or even in different regions. How can we do that? I would ask you in the comments to let me know what is the possible solution. How can we enable connectivity between multiple virtual network, and how can we achieve that? So I will wait your comment.